Good morning and welcome to The Point. It is Thursday, July 27th. Where has this year gone, Cameron? It just hit me.
I know, it's crazy. Well, that's what happens when you have a baby, I guess.
I guess. But why don't you hit us all with the news?
U.S. futures are pushing higher this morning as yesterday saw small gains led by utilities, telecommunication, and earnings reports. The Stoxx Europe 600 index remained relatively unchanged, while Asian markets saw solid gains across the board, led by Hong Kong up 0.7%. The MSCI Emerging Market Index rose 0.8% to its highest point in about 3 years. Earnings reports continue to be the main focus this week, as many are still left to go, such as Amazon, Barclays, Exxon, and Chevron. Some recent notable results include a tumble in Twitter user growth, while Facebook climbed to a record high as sales from mobile ads soared. The day from hell is well underway, with over $3 trillion of earnings to be reported, as Deutsche Bank warned on outlook after its weakest quarterly revenue in over 3 years. The bond market stayed steady in the U.S., while German, French, and British 10-year yields all fell 4 basis points after yesterday's upward move. And tomorrow, Tesla will hand over keys to the first 30 customers of their new Model 3 and begin high-volume production. This will determine if it's capable of holding the biggest U.S. carmaker stock valuation, currently at $56 billion. The dollar held steady after a recent slump, while the euro and pound saw mixed results. The euro declined 0.1% as the pound rose 0.2% to its strongest point in over 10 months. The Swiss franc lost almost 8%, taking its largest drop in more than 11 weeks, while the yen saw a small dip as the Aussie dollar extended its upward trend. Concerns are rising on an already weakening dollar after yesterday's statement from the Fed as inflation has declined and running below 2% on a 12-month basis. Analysts fear if the dollar drops below a certain point, it could erase all of its post-2014 gains. And commodities stayed relatively quiet as gold saw a small advance, which took it to its strongest point in more than 6 weeks, while crude oil held steady, pushing to $48.78 per barrel. Yesterday, the Fed released their statement as it indicated a strengthening labor market and rise in economic activity, although they feel gradual adjustments in monetary policy could further advance the economy. And today, we see reports on jobless claims and data on goods as investors wait tomorrow's ever-important statement on GDP at 8:30. Japan is also set to release their inflation, unemployment, and retail sales numbers tomorrow, providing a snapshot of their economy and their progress towards 2% inflation. LIBOR, which is the benchmark underpinning over $350 trillion of financial products across the world, will be phased out by the end of 2021. The Financial Conduct Authority claimed it no longer possible to determine a reliable rate due to a lack of transactions. And Senate Republicans that plan to demolish Obamacare are more likely to do some light trimming as they fail to get the votes needed. Investors, however, continue to ignore the drama in Washington as healthcare companies in the S&P have outperformed the market this year. So, Brad, earnings,
and more earnings. Yeah, it's going to be a busy before and after the bell today. A couple of things. I mean, we've been talking about the Fed for a couple of weeks. Janet Yellen saying that they will start trimming that balance sheet relatively soon as long as economic growth continues to keep up. Very conservative speak there, which is why we didn't see the market move very much yesterday. But they're having a heck of a year. The S&P 500 now up about 11% year to date. One thing that came out that was interesting to me is, as I was listening to you, is the Financial Conduct Authority claimed it's no longer possible to determine a reliable rate due to lack of transactions. That's pretty interesting to me, but I'm keeping an eye on the Senate Republican vote. I'm keeping an eye on healthcare. It also looks like the tax reform has kind of been pushed to the side as well. Those aren't real big market movers other than really tax reform, but those things are really important to American people in general. So want to keep an eye on what's going on there. Cameron, quiet day in sports. Your picture that you put here is hilarious.
That's kind of how I feel right now on clicking around the TV. I mean, you got nothing going on. Pirates dropped another one down there, 4 games behind the Cubs, who took over the division lead. But I'm most excited because training camps are starting up, and that means fantasy football's around the corner.
Yeah, that's right. I am. I don't realize how much I miss football until it's gone, and I'm ready for football season. So This concludes another episode of The Point for Thursday, July 27th. We will see y'all tomorrow.